Day 953. I was going to make this a two-part video, but both of these topics are somewhat related. So today I came in at 155.8, so just shy of 71 kilos. And apropos my The Winter Arc is BS video that I made previously, I decided since the holidays are approaching, instead of slowing down, I'm going to kick it up a notch. So now my previous Stepmill standard that I've been doing the past few weeks has been level 18 or 142 steps per minute, which gets me just shy of 8,500 steps in an hour, which I am still told dismayingly often that is a big ask of regular people to do in an entire day. Regardless, since I hold myself to a higher standard, I decided instead to set it at level 19 or 148 steps per minute, which is one shy of the maximum level 20 that this machine is capable of, and run that for an hour to see where it gets me. Run, quite literally, is the operative word. I was pretty much range walking the entire time up this thing. But the results of this experiment are as follows. Looks like I got 8,852 steps, so not quite 9,000 steps in an hour, 544 floors, and the calories, whatever, that really doesn't matter. What matters is that I was in high-end zone 2 for an hour, and that I've almost exceeded the capacity of this device to fatigue me. How is this even possible for someone that's been diagnosed with high blood pressure? Now, hypertension is clinically defined as having a blood pressure of 140/90, systolic over diastolic, normal being roughly 120/80. Now, there are a couple obvious big levers that help with blood pressure: maintaining a good weight with low levels of adiposity, not just lifting but regular cardiovascular exercise, but also celery. Now, those of you that know me personally know that I've used celery and celery seed as an anti-hypertensive for many years now. As early as 2012, when, upon returning from Afghanistan, my blood pressure was dangerously high, and if not immediately addressed, I was going to have no choice but to go on antihypertensive medications. What I discovered is as quickly as within 72 hours, upon consuming roughly 3 to 4 celery stalks 2 to 3 times a day, in the presence, of course, of regular cardiovascular exercise, maintaining a good body weight, and the reduction and or removal of exogenous factors that contributed to additional hypertensive effects such as alcohol, caffeine, unnecessary external stress, the celery with my meals, and or an equivalent amount of celery seed, although that's not my preferred method because it pretty much makes everything taste like celery, I found my blood pressure would drop down to normal or just slightly above normal levels, again, within 72 hours. Now, over the years, I've recommended this to many hundreds of people, most, if not all of whom have reported similar hypertensive attenuation effects as early as 48 hours and as late as 10 days with continuous celery consumption. My experimental hypothesis has since been confirmed in the literature as recently as March of this year in this narrative review by Al-Dabaidi et al., which states, quote, "Clinical trials clarified that celery possesses its effects through many bioactive compounds, specifically 3N-butylphthalide and apigenin. Based on animal and human studies, celery seems to elicit blood pressure regulation mainly by the vasodilatory, diuretic, and calcium channel blocking properties." Furthermore, in the conclusions, they state, "The current literature review showed a considerable number of studies on the hypertensive models which confirm that celery and its extracts are effective hypotensive agents." So there you have it, folks. And let me tell you something. Very rarely will you hear me say that a supplement or a thing that you eat is a bigger lever than an activity like exercise or a resultant state like a reduction in adiposity. But second only to regular cardiovascular activity, I would say that the inclusion of celery in my diet is probably the biggest lever keeping me from returning to a hypertensive state. And the best part about celery is you don't need a doctor to prescribe it. It's available just about everywhere. It's super cheap, so anyone at any economic level can afford it. It's a negligible amount of calories, so it's not going to affect your diet. It's full of tons of soluble and insoluble fiber. The only downside is if you don't like how it tastes. I am not a doctor, folks, nor am I advising you to disregard the recommendations of your primary healthcare provider. I am simply giving you a low barrier of entry, possible solution to your hypertensive problem. Thanks for watching.